Welcome to Thoughts on the Market. I'm Kathleen Oh, Morgan Stanley's Chief Korea and Taiwan economist. Today, I'll discuss what's needed to overcome Korea's aging population crisis. It's Tuesday, October 15th at 4 p.m. in Hong Kong. South Korea faces some of the world's most challenging demographics and will officially become a super-aged society next year. That's more than 20% of the population, 65 or older. The implications of this are so significant that the Korean government recently declared a state of national emergency, and we don't think this is overstating the case. Korea's low fertility rate is the primary culprit. In 2023, it plummeted to the lowest level globally and currently sits at 0.72. For reference, the total fertility rate of 2.1 children per woman is what's necessary to maintain a stable population in general. By next year, Korea's population will start declining and is projected to shrink by a third over the next 40 years as the working population halves. At this pace, the Bank of Korea forecasts that Korea's potential growth could enter negative territory by 2040, down from 2% in 24 and 25. So why does Korea have such a record low fertility rate? In the short term, there are two key drivers. First, the declining number of marriages during the pandemic drove a rapid drop in births. Having children out of wedlock is taboo in Korea. Once weddings resumed in 2022, Korea saw a slight but insufficient rebound in births. Second, housing prices have gone up 80% in the past decade, which has discouraged young couples from having families with first children feeling extra financial burdens to have a second child. Beyond the short term, structural factors have also played a role. After a compressed period of rapid economic growth, Koreans feel uncertain about the unemployment conditions and housing outlook. Tackling the low fertility rate has been on Korean policymakers' agenda for the past 20 years. The government has invested more than $320 billion into solving the demographic challenge. And while these efforts have certainly raised awareness, they have yet to overcome the crisis. And why? Because Korea has not addressed the root causes of the problem: income uncertainty, high childcare, and education costs. It's clear what's needed here are structural reforms, and Korea is clearly taking important steps toward overcoming the issue by tackling the fundamental problems now. Policymakers are working to reshape the pension system for the first time in 15 years. They're focusing on measures around improving work-life balance, reducing the gender wage gap, and increasing support for working parents. They're also considering lowering barriers to immigration, which could help alleviate talent shortages. They're also working on reducing the cost of private education. And finally, the government is also focused on improving the country's capital market infrastructure. They're aiming to attract foreign investment as well as to help households secure a source of asset accumulation and lower borrowing costs for domestic players. Of course, it's impossible to quickly reverse the downtrend, and positive change will require multiple years, even decades. Korea's government has set a medium-term goal of returning the fertility rate to 1.0 by 2030, which would delay working population decline by 5 years. And if the fertility rate reaches 2.1, that would delay the decline in the workforce by 20 years. Conversely, if Korea's fertility rate remains at the current rate of 0.72, the population will halve by 2065, and the economy will start contracting in 2040, a worst-case scenario that the government is determined to avoid. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please leave us a review wherever you listen and share thoughts on the market with a friend or colleague today.
The preceding content is informational only and based on information available when created. It is not an offer or solicitation, nor is it tax or legal advice. It does not consider your financial circumstances and objectives and may not be suitable for you.